This week I've actually been in the forest twice mushroom picking. Or picking. You know, mushrooms are really fragile, so it's not so easy to pick with these kind of hands. Anyway, I am Gry Hege, I am artist without hands, and let me show you how I made mushrooms into a doodle. This week's doodle is actually inspired by a walk in the forest. We went mushroom picking, and as you know, I don't have any hands, so I have an assistant who is actually working as my hand, and she is the one that picked whatever I pointed at. So let's take these chanterelles, or yellowfoots, I'm not sure what you call them, into the studio and turn them into art. I'm using a sketchbook for this. Doesn't have very thick pages, but it doesn't matter because we're not using any water at all. We're just using markers, and I'm starting with a black marker. I guess it's about 0.5 millimeters, and I'm drawing in the basic shapes of the mushrooms. I've decided to draw them from underneath, so we only see the kind of back side, the bottom part, and you can see the top hanging a little bit around the edges. So we're starting with these basic shapes, and then we can put in some more details a little bit later. So you can draw how many mushrooms you want, and it's up to you actually how many you want to draw in. I'm also drawing a circle now that represents the sun, and also a lot of lines in the sky. That's kind of the wind or the clouds or whatever you want to call it. I'm kind of trying to be a little artistic here. So therefore I'm varying the distance between the lines so it's not the same all the way. On the bottom part is kind of representing the ground. What I'm doing now, I'm taking a bigger black marker and I'm putting in all black on the ground and also the sun. So it's kind of showing a little bit better. And some of the lines I'm also making black. It doesn't matter how many or where they are, the black ones, you can put them in later or you can do it now. Now you see I'm putting in some circles in between some of the lines. It's also on the ground, and I tried to kind of have them representing some red berries, like lingonberries that were around where we were picking. On top of the berries, I'm now making kind of a flowery shape by making some uneven squares that I divide into 8. The way that I've drawn them, it's making them going smaller and smaller, but I'm trying to put them in and almost think what would be behind the mushrooms. But try to make it as easy as you can for yourself, don't make it too hard. I'm not very good in coloring in either because I cannot support my hand on the table, so I have to have it in the air all the time and my hand gets tired. So you'll probably see later that I'm not very precious about this. And I'm also making some circles in some of the other lines as well. I'm starting with this now, as you can see. And after that I'm taking the black marker, a little thinner black marker than the other one I had, or it's actually the other side of the other one I had. What I'm now not thinking about is that the marker I am using is water soluble. And that is also the markers I'm going to use on the inside of these ones. Which means that the black will probably go on the other colors as well and make them dirty. But okay, it's an autumn drawing, so maybe it's okay that the colors get a little dirty. But you could use permanent markers for the black, and then your other colors wouldn't be as dirty as mine will probably be later. So as you can see, I'm just coloring in between all the leaves and also the top and the bottom there. So it's almost like a little, as we call it in Norway, waffles or flowers. And leaves, like it's representing here. And then it's exactly the same process between all the berries at the bottom. It's only the round parts that are going to be white or red later, but white for now, and black between them. The same thing will happen here because it's still a water-based marker and so is my color, and it will probably influence the color and make it a little more dirty red. So I have to be careful while I'm using the red one. And I'm just going between everyone, and I'm also doing the same later on the line that you can see that we had circles in on the top here. I then use the same marker to make some of the lines a little bit thicker. So as you can see now, I'm just choosing between some of the lines. It doesn't matter actually which ones. And you can also change that later. If you want to thicken some of the lines, you can do that. I thought it looked a little strange when I only had the line under the sun, so I also took one above the sun. Now I'm taking a thinner marker again and doing some vertical lines or stripes kind of over the ground. So it could be grass or whatever, that doesn't matter what it is. Actually, it's kind of an abstract form anyway on this drawing. And after that, I'm going with the same marker, or it's a little bit thicker. I'm just pressing a little bit harder maybe to get it a little bit thicker, so the edges would show a little bit more on the outside of the mushrooms. On this stage, I'm not sure if I'm leaving them like this or if I'm putting in more details. As you will see later, I'm going to put in more details and making these lines probably several times. Now I have a yellow marker that I decided to use for coloring in the mushrooms. On top here is not a big problem with the ink, but as I go down and close to the thicker lines, they are also water-based, so the black might follow on to the mushrooms. So therefore I'm trying to be a little careful when coming down at the bottom to the ground there. If I get some black ink, I can use it for shading, maybe having it on the top, because the inner part that's on the top of the mushrooms is a little bit darker than the bottom part. So I can use it for my benefit. As you see, I do there. I have some black from the black on the ground, and I spread it around on the top edge of the mushroom. Here is lingonberries, and I'm putting them down with the red. So I just color it in. As you can see, the black is coming over, especially on the small berries, because it's a little hard to stay inside the lines without having the white to show. So I'm just doing my best to put in. For the leaves, I'm using a green, kind of more army green color. And I have the same problem here with black that will come over to the green. So just try my best to stay within the leaf shapes without being on the black too much. So that will represent all the leaves that were lying on the ground when we were out picking the mushrooms. And then I'm using the same type of water-based marker in the sky. It's okay when it's not between the thick lines with water-based black, but as you can see, the circles are getting very, very muddy when I'm using them, or the blue inside the circles. But after making some blue lines, I'm also now making some gray lines, just to have some variation. And around the sun, the closest to the sun, I take the same yellow as I have on the mushrooms. And as the yellow marker was very dirty from the black sun, I now use the same marker for making a shade on top of the vertical lines that represent grass or something. And as you now can see, I've started making some dots on the next field. Doesn't matter what type of pattern you decide to use. It's no reason for me picking dots. It was just what was in my head. I just need some variations for cannot have circles or leaves in all of the lines here. So pick whatever you want to pick. If you have a pattern you like to draw, please just put it in. That will be fun. In the next line here, as you can see, I'm putting some like spirals. I'm not sure what you will call them. It's more like doodles in a round here. So just put in whatever pattern you like, or you can copy mine if you want to do that. Next one is just making like lines going crazy in there, all the directions. It's nothing to learn. I just go like here and there with lines, crossing and crossing. And now I'm taking like C's, as you're making a C all the way over, and then I'm taking C's in the opposite direction. So it's like having it have an optical illusion type. So if you take every second and a different way, it will look kind of cool sometimes. No, maybe not so cool in the sky here, but you can make a lot of different shapes with that. I will probably make some videos on that later. Now I'm filling in some more lines and some more details on these mushrooms, because these yellowfoots or funnel chanterelles, they have a lot of lines underneath. So I needed to put some more in to have it more realistic. It's not like their drawing is being realistic, but I just wanted this mushroom to feel like mushrooms. The stem could probably have been a little bit bigger, but it's too late now, so I'm just keeping them as they are, and I think it's kind of cool to have them like that anyway. So putting in more details, and then I decided to do some circles in some of the other lines underneath the sun, and also I'm going to do the same on top of the sun here. I hadn't decided if I wanted to put black between them, but I decided to do so. Yeah, as you can see, I'm not very steady on my hand because I cannot support it. The angle will not allow me to do that. That means I'm always drawing with the hand up in the air. So it's a little hard. Sometimes I need to take a break just to be able to come through it. And as you can see, it's not very good control. So some of the circles are big, some are small, and many of them do not look like circles. Starting to be close to the finish, so I make a line on the top, so I kind of have a little thicker line there, and also a little thicker line around the edges of the mushrooms, so they kind of stand out a little bit more. So you can see the details are inside with a thinner pen, and the outline is now made with a little thicker one. And here you can see the mushrooms in their real environment with some of the ones I picked earlier. I hope that you would like to try making some mushrooms, or maybe something else for yourself. It can be different type of mushrooms, can be plants, can be leaves, whatever. And if you want to see more drawings or doodles from me, please just subscribe to my channel, and then we'll see you again later.